Okay, so I've been wanting to share these with you guys for a while now, and we are already moving on to like our third unit. So I have a few minutes. Hopefully I can get through this. But I wanted to show you what we are going to be using for science, or what we have already used at the beginning of the year here. And I do have a little bit of a cold, so hopefully you guys will be able to understand me. So the first thing that we did was my 12-year-old 7th grader. He did Pasteur's Fight Against Microbes while I was doing volcanoes with my 3rd grader. So in 3rd grade, we love to do a volcano unit and make our, volcanoes and all that fun stuff. He gets to make it with Dad. So that is something that he really, really enjoyed. So we are using Preparing Hearts for His Glory, which is by Heart of Dakota, for the majority of our curriculum this year. And so that is where Pasteur came from. So because of that, I was able to print the worksheets from the Heart of Dakota Facebook group. And I will link everything down below, the books, the worksheets, all the groups that I'm referring to. So I just printed the worksheets, or the notebooking pages that we needed for all of our lessons. And I did have to go through a couple of different groups because of that. So, excuse me. So this is what he did Pasteur day 1. I think it took about 2 weeks between the experiments and the reading and the notebooking. And then that was day 3 that he did that. And then that was his experiment. It had to sit for a week where he did different breads and saw the mold grow on that. So that was what he did. Like I said, it took him about a week or a week and a half to do that. And while he was doing that, my younger son was doing volcanoes. So this is the book that we used. And then I actually had some printed worksheets from when my eldest was in 3rd grade and he did his. So we just went back and used those. And like I said, I will link it because I do not remember who they're by. It says Heart to Heart Teaching, and I got those off Teachers Pay Teachers. So this is kind of like a notebooking page. We read the book together, and then he told me, he orally answered the questions, and then I filled them in for him. We did parts of a volcano, so some labeling. He did some, sorry if you can't see it very well, some vocabulary. And then we read about the different kind of famous volcanoes, and so he matched the information to those. And then that was that. And then the majority of the time he was working on his volcano with his dad, so I will put a couple of clips of that. So that was our first unit, and that took about 2 weeks. Then for about 4 weeks, we used an illustrated adventure in human anatomy, and that is from this guide, Hearts for Him Through Time, Creation of Christ, and this is another Heart of Dakota guide. So the one we're primarily using is like their 3rd or 4th grade level, and Creation of Christ is more their 4th or 5th grade level. So I've just been trying to use what I have on hand, and I have several of these Heart of Dakota guides because I love their science and their Bible and all of that so much that I've just been accumulating them. And so I've just been getting some of the science from that, some of the science from this one. So this was the last one that you do. It starts in week 31. So for about 4 or 5 weeks, we did this, and my kids really, really loved this book. It had like fun facts that they really enjoyed learning. The colors are very nice and vibrant. They just really, really enjoyed this book. And like I said, we got the notebooking pages from the Facebook group. Now, I did not love all of these notebooking pages, but they were free, so I can't complain too much. But so I would sometimes go in and do my own. So this is my 12-year-old's, or no, sorry, this is my 3rd graders. So he didn't have to do as much writing as my 7th grader did. But so they would So they're supposed to draw and label these, but the person that created these pages already put the images on here. So they just kind of had to color them and then write what they are. This is one I print, just ignore his doodles on the other page. He loves to doodle. So like here, they had the parts of the brain that you label, but I just did not feel like that was big enough. I did not feel like that was gonna be super helpful for even my 7th grader. So I would just go on Pinterest and find free printables that they could use to label. So I think they preferred these much better than they would have the other ones. Much easier to see, has the words down here to make it easier, and then he got to color the different parts. And then a lot of times my 3rd grader, instead of having to write these all out, I just had him tell me what the answer was or find the answer in the book, and we would read it together. Please excuse my dog. My kids are outside playing and he's not very happy about it. Okay, so then this was another unit that we did. Again, they would have to draw, in this case color, the parts and then label what they are. I had this from when my eldest was in 3rd grade, and this is from Curriculum Castle, and so I used these for my 3rd grader. And so he would just get to color and then write a little bit and not have to do as much. Excuse me. And then we did not do all of the experiments or the activities that were in the book. Sometimes we didn't have things, so we did do the one on lungs. There's his page on digestion, parts of the eye. There was the ear that they labeled. So that is what my 3rd graders looked like. And then here is what my 7th graders looked like. So he had to actually go in and look for the information. And then instead of the one where my son just got to color it, he had to actually label the respiratory system. So there's the last page. So they really enjoyed that book, and the experiments that we did and the labeling and all that. They really love to draw. So the next thing that we are moving on to is Rabbit Trails Homestead Science. So we're very excited to try this. This is something new from Rabbit Trails Homeschool. As I said, I will link that down below. And so I printed the first few lessons, and I picked up the first few supplies from Walmart, and then I got the first few weeks of books. So the main book that you're going to be reading, which I was able to find at my library, is the book Farmhouse. And it is just very pretty. We were actually supposed to start this yesterday, but I've been sick, and then all of their neighborhood friends are on fall break right now. So we got through most of our lessons today, but we may be taking a break from science this week. So here's another one on the farm. I was not able to get all of the books. Obviously, you don't have to read all the books, but the ones I was able to get, I grabbed. John Deere, that's who. My 3rd grader used to really like John Deere, so I think he's gonna like this one. And then Saving the Countryside. This is about Beatrix Potter, who we love. And we've actually read this one a couple years ago before. So, like I said, I printed the first few weeks. So if you've never seen Rabbit Trails before, they have free lesson samples that you can get on their website. So I'll just show you the first couple of weeks here. So basically, you read the book, you do some observation and journaling. Christine, who created Rabbit Trails Homeschool, generally always has either written a poetry book or has a poetry book she recommends. We do not do that portion. There's a Bible verse, and then there's some information down here. And then this is our activity that we are doing. The first week, you're going to be using a potato, a knife, cookie cutters, paint, and paper. So I already went and purchased on Walmart. We have potatoes, and then I just got some cookie cutters. And so I think my kids, even my little kids, will enjoy doing that activity. And then this is the part I really like. with rabbit trails, you kind of just pick and choose what you want to do. So usually I have my older son do the vocabulary, the art study is fun. Then there's things like go berry or apple picking. This is basically why I chose to do this one now, because it is October. We're going to be, you know, going to the pumpkin patch soon and the farm and all of that kind of stuff. Make homemade butter, which we've done before, write a story, so that would be good to do for our writing that week. Create a collage, visit a farm, see the animals, so that will be a lot of fun. Then this is the second week. I think they recommend that you do them, that you take a lesson and do it for 2 weeks, but we usually only do it for 1 week because I know it's called rabbit trails and you're supposed to go down the rabbit trails, but my kids and I are not really into going deep dive into most topics, unless they're really into it. So then you're going to be using the book Farm Anatomy, which we own from doing the Peaceful Press last year. Again, you're going to be doing some notebooking, then they have their poetry, Bible verses, and then some more of the lesson. And then you're going to be making haystacks, which my kids are very excited about. They saw the chow mein noodles and they're thrilled. They love like all things Asian, so they're super excited about that. And then again, vocabulary words. Then there's about large farm equipment, which is what you're going to be learning in Farm Anatomy. Create your own barn out of popsicle sticks, visit a farm and see heavy equipment, do an art study, and then there's a STEM challenge about how to build a catapult. So I think that would be really, really fun for my kids. So I will say that something that I don't especially love about rabbit trails versus us doing Heart of Dakota science is that there's not as many like hands-on experiments. They're more activities or things like that versus actual experiments. And so that's why I don't tend to do all rabbit trail science throughout the year. My kids really love experiments. They really love to get, you know, do hands-on type things, and doing experiments really, really helps them with their learning with that. And Heart of Dakota does an amazing job with that. Okay, so I don't know exactly how long that will take. But the next one we are going to be doing is Albert Einstein, Young Thinker. And that is going to be coming out of our Preparing Hearts guide. So I already have the stuff printed for that. And so here are the notebooking pages we're going to be using. I really love the science notebooking pages from the year Preparing Hearts. I like them a lot better than I like the Creation of Christ ones. But again, they're free, so I can't complain too much. But so it looks like it's going to take us about 3 weeks to do the Albert Einstein one. And my children and I absolutely love these childhood of famous American books. So when I saw that there was one and it was for Albert Einstein, someone that we have not really covered a whole lot, I was excited to do this one. Now, I am going to be having a baby in February, so I think that Albert Einstein will probably get us to Christmas break, and then we may just be doing a little bit of science or just waiting until we come back in March or April, depending on what's going on with everything with the baby. And so I thought it would be a great time to do the land animals of the 6th day. This is Apologia, and it is coming from the Creation to Christ guide. This takes quite a while. I have all of the notebooking pages in their binders for this one as well. So it starts, let's see, we start in Unit 1 through Unit 14. So it takes about 14 weeks or so to complete this one. So that will be a good time of year because we are going to be having lots of zoo trips and things like that with our homeschool group. And so I thought it would be really good to do this one in the spring when we can actually go observe a lot of these animals that we're learning about. So I don't know if you guys have this issue, but when I look at Apologia, I have tried to use Apologia so many times And I don't know what it is, but when I look at it, I am just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to use it. I don't know why. It's nothing personal. I don't know. I have seen people in other groups for other curriculums that I personally love where they look at it and they're just overwhelmed and don't want to do it, and it's kind of like an aversion. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm going to try really, really hard to use this, and if not, I do have Sassafras Science one, which is also about mammals and animals. So if this one does not work out, that is what we will be using.